All right, everyone, we're back with Alexander Smith and Harper O'Neill from the retail development team at Wizards of the Coast. This is very exciting. We had Gavin at the first LGSC, but I think it's amazing that we get you two. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday, because retail development is the reason for an event like this, and so taking time out of your Saturday to join us and really talk to the retailers here means so much. So thank you so much, Harper and Alexander. Go ahead, anyone who has questions, you can drop in the chat, and then I'll come back later with the questions. So we'll hold questions. I want to make sure, Harper and Alexander, you both have an opportunity to get through the presentation you've prepared. And don't worry, I'll save all the questions. So if anyone watching, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, and we will circle back when the presentation's over. So thank you, Harper, Alexander. Go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, perfect. I just want to make sure that that you can see the video, and I'm also going to be sharing the screen. It seems like the host has disabled participant screen sharing, so let me know when I can share the screen.
Absolutely. Let me ping them right now.
And worth mentioning, our content for the presentation is only maybe about 20 to 25 minutes is our guess. So we are going to have plenty of time for questions at the end. Miscellaneous chit chat about some stories of development. So certainly excited to hear from people.
Awesome. Alexander, you should be good to go.
All right. All right. Is that visible?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep, you're good.
Quick look, make an update on my end. Cool. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wizards of the Coast WPN Premium presentation. We're delighted to be speaking at LGSCon. So, yeah, let's get a little bit about ourselves. So I'm Harper O'Neill. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Senior Retail Development Specialist for the WPN. I've been with the Wizards of the Coast for about 9 years, and working with retailers for the lion's share of that time. I have a background in entrepreneurship and business development. I've also dabbled in a couple of other side projects at Wizards that you may have heard of. I was one of the designers for the Ravnica Guild kits now a few years ago. I've also dabbled in some individual card design like Munda Ambush Leader, Gerard Weatherlight Hero, and more recently, I think Large Pox from the Mystery Boosters. So it's been a ride, and it's been great working with people.
Yep. And I'm Alexander Smith. I use he, him pronouns. Before stepping into my role here as a retail development specialist, I actually worked in a couple of stores, both of which are now premium. Mock's Boarding House in Bellevue, really close by, and also Labyrinth Games and Puzzles in Washington, D.C. Both great stores, highly recommend them. But I've been working here at Wizards for about 3 years. I started off in customer support, sort of transitioned into my role with retail development, which is where my passion lies. And I have a background in communications, which I got from the University of Washington. I sort of, came up here for my grad degree, and then, turns out that Wizards was here, by the way. So it worked out pretty well for me. Like Harper, I've also designed a few cards, so that's a huge, point of pride. I actually have a demonic embrace framed picture over there. So that was one of them. And the other one was Lovac the Aberrant. And, I think that when we're talking about these, it's not our main job, but it sort of goes to show that, we have put a lot of effort into, not just making the in-store experience awesome, but also helping you get some cool cards for your players. In any case, today we'll be talking about the WPN Premium program, what it is, why it's important, and how the ideals behind it can help your business, even if you're not planning on applying, although we hope that you do apply. After that, we'll have that Q&A session like Harper was mentioning, where Harper and I will field any questions that you might have. So let's start with the what. Harper, take it away.
All right, thanks, Alexander. Before we get into WPN Premium specifically, I'm not sure of everybody's backgrounds with the WPN, but we'd like to just kind of start with a general overview of what the WPN is. So let's just talk briefly about the larger program first. The Wizards Play Network is a program for retail hobby gaming stores to run sanctioned Magic and D&D events, and it's supported with promotional material for new product releases. As a WPN member, you have access to tools, including our new Event Link tournament software, which helps to schedule and run events that can be found by players on the store and event locator. WPN members also run exclusive events such as Magic pre-releases, where players can get cards from the newest set before they're physically released anywhere else. We just had Innistrad Midnight Hunt, and I'm sure many of you here have gotten a chance to, well, now the set is released. So we're going through that cycle right now. In addition to all of this, WPN members have access to professional support from our retail team to help them understand our programs and events, as well as have a resource to help them improve their store. And one of the reasons why WPN members may want to improve their store is to work towards WPN Premium. And that's largely why we're here today. In 2019, we created WPN Premium, and as in-store Magic had grew to new heights over the last decade, a new class of game store emerged. It was the bar raisers, the benchmark setters, the standard bearers, and that's what we're interested in for WPN Premium. So it's a public recognition of the best game stores in the world and a way for Wizards to support them as such that it equals their contribution to their Magic community. These are the stores that make you stop and say, wow. They're known for organizing great events and excellent customer service, and they're quick to take on the task of trying new and exciting WPN programs. So to give you an idea of what a premium store looks like, we can consider the Game Parlor in San Francisco. They have a beautiful and bright store with visual appeal, very, very bright, and they lean heavily into the idea of a chic board game cafe. This is a store where I would like to spend lots of my time in, and I would be happy to bring my family and friends to. Beautiful. Oh. We'll also be showing you examples of many different stores today, each with their own unique personality. We want to do this to emphasize that there's really no one way of being a WPN Premium store. It's not just about clean aesthetics like the Game Parlor. Like the Wizards Chest's appeal is not the same because they can instead lean into a more fanciful, maximalist design that makes them stand out as a top-of-the-line business. And WPN Premium stores enjoy a variety of enhanced benefits. Some that we've added recently include the D&D ampersand foil sets and some high-quality display solutions like the booster dispenser kind of tucked away in the back here on the slide. Others include upgraded marketing materials like posters and standees. We also have opportunities to provide premium stores with exclusive products, such as the all-foil Commander collection. We also highlight premium stores on the store and event locator with priority placement, which allows players to know where to find premium stores in their communities. This is all to say that we have the opportunity to take big swings with WPN Premium stores. When we look out for the best ambassadors for our brand and have special projects like the wall treatments or scouting locations for ad spots like we had done with the Modern Horizons 2 videos, we're going to turn to the WPN Premium stores first. The list just goes on, and we're always going to be adding new rewards and new benefits. The ceiling is pretty high.
Yep. Brute Force Games' ceiling is also pretty high. I just noticed. It's kind of
a that's true.
Funny little thing there. So you might be wondering, why is this important? Why is it important for Wizards, and why is it important for retailers? So I'll be getting a little bit more into the philosophy, the data, as well as some of the stories about why WPN Premium is important. So first off, the philosophy. What you've got to know is that even with the expansion into online and direct-to-consumer sales, local game stores remain our biggest channel by a wide margin. The success of LGSs is foundational to the successes of our games. Game stores, they're not just a channel through which Wizards sells products. They're also a hub where people gather. They learn how to play the game. They stay engaged. Just from my personal experience, I've been playing Magic for almost 20 years now, and I don't think that I would be playing Magic if I, didn't have that great in-store experience to sort of keep me in the game. So it really does make sense that Wizards is vested in making stores succeed. Now, one of the things that we've identified is that how and where people interact with retail, it's changing. And we want to help give stores the tools that they need to adapt. So when choosing where to buy, customers are looking for two things. The first is maximum cost efficiency and convenience. That is shopping online with shipping direct to their door. But the other thing is top quality in-person retail and moreover, those in-person retail experiences. The desire for those in-store retail experiences is true for millennials, it's true for Gen X, but it's even truer for Gen Z. And it's almost a paradox because despite being born into this world where technology has dominated and almost anything is available with the click of a mouse, research firmly shows us that this generation prefers that in-store brick and mortar shopping experience, and again, by a wide margin. So, let's take a step back. What does this group spend their money on? And, the answer is experiences. They want to socialize with friends. They want to, spend time with friends and family. And that's exactly where LGSs already shine. And the WPN Premium program, that leans into that existing need. The other part of this is competing on price alone. It isn't practical for a brick and mortar store. You have real costs, you have overhead, you have rent, labor, utilities. You can't survive on the margins that an online warehouse can. So in order to survive and flourish, brick and mortar stores, they need to offer those qualities that online stores cannot. You want to be providing those high quality spaces. You want to provide those awesome and memorable customer experiences. You really want to be thinking about comfort, ambiance, expertise. That is where you are strong and that is where you're going to win. And the other half of this is that you're not just competing with online, with the convenience of online. You're also competing against the comforts of the home, the kitchen table, the cozy home game room. Why do I want to go out to play at your store when I could be inviting folks over to my house, especially if it's a little bit cozier and comfortable than what I might find elsewhere. So staying competitive in this changing market is the basis of WPN Premium. What makes tabletop gaming different from other retail segments is that the experience is already the heart of what a game store offers. While you can just as easily order a new pair of shoes or a new computer online, you're always going to need a physical space and players for tabletop gaming. And thinking forward, WPN Premium is also about reaching that new demographic, the folks who aren't necessarily traditional gamers and who want a different quality of gaming experience than the players who already visit your local game store. Something I often consider when I go to a store is, okay, I feel comfortable here, but would my mom, would my cousin, and how about my niece and nephew? WPN Premium stores should have that broad appeal. And really impress anyone who walks through their door, not just the super enfranchised gamer. Other sections of retail have been already building their businesses based on this idea of this high quality in-store experience for years. What we're doing here is using our expertise to help bring a section of the hobby gaming retail up to those modern standards. Now let's jump a little bit into the data. So before COVID, our data showed that the average store working towards premium experienced a 22% increase in tickets as they worked towards the designation. Now, tickets being any in-store play. Then, after earning premium, that acceleration continues. Premium stores outpace non-premium stores by about 6%. Retention also typically increases for stores that have achieved WPN Premium. Premium outpaced the rest of the WPN by 5% year over year at the Theros Beyond Death pre-release. And again, that doesn't simply mean that they drew more players. It also means that they were growing at a faster rate. They increased at a faster rate than compared to last year. So again, this is an upward trajectory. So if premium means more tickets, that means more play, and that only benefits your store overall. The bottom line here is that the data says that players love the WPN Premium experience, and they're showing that by coming back for more of it. Each step towards WPN Premium can be a step towards more tickets and better retention. Now, one of the questions that we ask retailers when they apply is why they are applying. What we found is that the largest primary motivating factor was the chance to improve their business potential, and that is over the physical rewards that we offer. We'll give out a lot of really cool things that are flashy, but at its core, it's people wanting to improve their business. In fact, fewer than 20% of the applicants said that their primary motivation were those tangible benefits. Other primary motivators that we've seen are the desire to bolster their store's reputation or a desire to act on a sense of pride for their store. And really, this isn't just for retailers, because what we found is that they're not the only ones who can be proud of their accomplishments. Players are also proud for their store. I can't tell you how many stores have come to me after making a change, boasting about how much their players liked that. Very recently, I completed a premium designation, and they had changed out a lot of their tables, and they said that that was the biggest thing that they got complimented on by their players. And I absolutely see why. So that was actually very heartwarming, and it's always nice to see that it's not just for you, it's also for your players. And finally, another big reason that people come to us for the premium process is they're trying to get the support of their retail development specialist. There have been stores like Amusing Games that credit the process of applying for WPN Premium as its biggest benefit. Just to use a quote from them, becoming WPN Premium has added a valuable member to our team with a keen eye and a vested interest in building our brand and our overall success. One of my coworkers even sort of jokes that this is like having an extra employee that you don't have to pay. So it's like we're working for you in a sense.
Yeah, we do get paid.
We do get paid. We get paid, but not by you. Wizards does that.
We're fine. But yeah, so that all sounds great. So let's talk about the nitty gritty and what you can expect when you apply for premium. So if you are at all interested in WPN Premium, the one thing I want you to take away is there is no reason to wait to apply. If you are remotely interested, just apply. Get in touch with your retail development specialist and get started today. So you want to apply for premium as you are starting to make the improvements. So don't feel like you have to wait until you're done. By applying, you'll start to work closely with the specialist for your region, who will help guide you through what we call the path to premium process. For example, I myself work with just a few territories, that being Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. I also work with stores in Guam and the Northwest Territories. So I don't have any United States representation myself, but Alexander does. So to complete an application, all you'll need is to prepare a video walkthrough covering your entire store, outside and in, anywhere that a customer can see or access. That more or less helps us understand your store as though we were there ourselves to see it. Staying engaged is critical to WPN Premium success. So don't feel discouraged if you find that something isn't working. We usually are able to find some path forward, or at least identify what those roadblocks are, so that you have a better picture of what it is you're working towards. So you can ask questions. You can check in regularly with your specialist for ideas and inspiration from other stores we've worked with. And we also work, I and Alexander, we work with our greater team to come up with ideas when we run into roadblocks. So you're not just depending on the resources of a single person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think between everyone on the team, we've always encountered weird situations, but we always have like little niche experiences that can help each other out, which is that's a pretty nice thing.
Yeah, we should probably at some point calculate the total years of experience that we have between us.
Yeah, definitely.
To share as a bullet point for the future.
Mm-hmm.
We can worry about that later.
Yep.
Next slide. So these are the requirements for getting approved for WPN Premium. By now, you've seen some exemplary premium store images, and we expect that stores in this process are going to pay close attention to their own aesthetics if they're interested in earning premium. Applying early gives you a sense of what you can expect if you're interested. And if you think that it might be out of reach, again, just talking with your specialist may give you some of those targeted ideas to improve your store, and you can work on the long game. If the plan sounds good to you, then your retail development specialist will get you started on what we call the Path to Premium, which is a series of regular check-ins to help keep you motivated and also to offer fine-tuning for your ideas until you finally reach your goal and you make it to premium. It's worth noting that it usually takes a highly motivated store, Path to Premium store, I think we found about 2 to 4 months to achieve premium. But of course, that's all dependent on all sorts of factors. But we want to make sure that you have a good idea of what you can expect personally, and we can customize those solutions. An important thing to keep in mind is that it is still very much your business, and we want to respect that. We want to help bring out the best in your store, and we will customize our approach to see that your store's unique personality thrives. That said, there are a few things that we find helpful for just about everyone. And these next couple slides are going to be some of the tips that I like to share when I'm starting Path to Premium conversations. Make your brand loud. First and foremost, make it loud. What's your theme? Do you have a logo? Do you have a mascot, a consistent color palette, or a font selection? Are you more country vintage, or maybe a neon lights aesthetic? Like whatever it is, dial it up to 11, find the things that work and make them work really well for you. I like to say that your brand should speak louder than our brands or any of the brands that you happen to carry. I want to know that I'm shopping at Harper's Game Store and nowhere else. And so when a customer thinks about their favorite store, when they think about their favorite game, they will think about their favorite store. They'll think about you. Use smart signage. We're going to help your customers by using signage to guide the shopping experience. Where's the product for new players? Do you have staff picks? Where's the 2-player games? You can consider piggybacking on some of the branding points by highlighting your store colors and fonts, logos and mascots, what have you, on these signs. This is especially important for things like your code of conduct, your event calendar, and your sales policy. And I think we're going to be sharing a couple of examples of that in this presentation a little bit later on. Mm-hmm. Quality is everything. Frame your posters. Get rid of any tattered or taped or unsightly pieces of paper. Organize your merchandise displays. Cover visible wiring. Replace any handwritten signage and replace it with something printed out. You can upgrade your washroom appearance and amenities and improve any unsightly elements that are keeping your store from a cleaner presentation. One tactic that I like to return to time and again is finding ways of beautifying your singles showcase or to hide any grungy bulk singles boxes if you can. Go all in. WPN Premium stores are memorable. If you do something really well, you want to show it off. Highlight the best features of your store and get creative. You don't have to make your store into a castle like the Wizard's Chest, but you want to find the things that you like about your store and make them the best that they can be. And clean. Clean. Do an assessment of all your floors, walls, door frames, ceilings, bathrooms, furniture. Do an assessment of all of that in your store to check for wear, dirt, or damage. Make an inventory of what needs to be cleaned, what needs to be replaced, what can just simply be painted. Can you paint or clean to touch up some of these elements? Can you upgrade your lighting fixtures to make things brighter? A clean store is an accessible store, is a family-friendly store, is a premium store.
And we know that the process is tough. So let's talk about some of the tools that can help you on your journey. When we say that we're invested in helping make good game stores great, we mean it. And we know that sometimes a little nudge is all it takes. And that's why we created the Retail Improvement Grant Program. If you already know what you want for your store, that's great, perfect. But if you need help, we've also partnered with Sightline Productions. Now, we've worked with Sightline Productions before, and these photos from some of our previous Magic events show what, the sort of breadth of what they can do. They really know how to make things visually impressive. And even if you're not going for something custom made like a huge Eldrazi statue, I imagine that most stores aren't, they can certainly help you find contractors and designers in your area, whether this be for store signage, whether this be for like, hey, we're looking to sort of find some cabinetry, even if it's just like, hey, we're looking for new tables, what's available in our area. And these grants can help bridge some of the hurdles that a store might face when getting to WPN Premium, but they're also available for anyone within the WPN. So if you're applying for this, don't think that this hinges on like, am I going for WPN Premium or not? But it can be a helpful tool if you're trying to get to Premium. With all that said, there are a couple of things that you need to know before applying to the Retail Improvement Grant. The first is that these grants aren't loans, so you don't need to pay them back. I've had a lot of people ask me about like, oh, when do I have to pay this back? No, it's a grant. You just get it. But the second part of this is that they can only cover up to 50% of a project's total cost. Think of it like we're stretching your budget to help you go above and beyond. This is the sort of icing on the cake. If you were thinking of doing something and you wanted to do something else, but it just wasn't in the budget, maybe the grant can help you do both things. Third, all Retail Improvement Grant stores sign a non-disclosure agreement. So this means that we'll be talking a little bit about some of the improvements that we've been making, but by and large, you're not going to hear that from the stores themselves just because of this agreement. And lastly, the grants only cover purchases made after the contract is signed. This is definitely very important. Don't go, buying a bunch of things hoping to get this grant to be a reimbursement. It has to be before. So reach out to us before you make those purchases, before you consider spending. And last thing is, if your grant isn't chosen immediately, we do keep these proposals on file for a while and we review them each quarter. And you're always welcome to reapply with any updates or any details. Hey, it's didn't get in this quarter. I'll try again next quarter, and we'll talk to you about hey, let's try and find out the scope of this. Let's see how we can help make this work for your store. And you do want to try and get as much as you can together, because we only are able to do a single grant per store. So if your plan is I'm going to do this as part of a grant and then I'm going to do the rest as another grant, just want to give you the heads up there. And to give you an idea of some of the grants that have helped others, we have a few examples. So Retail Improvement Grants, they're great in tackling solutions for unsightly elements in your store. In this case, Kerwin's Game Store, they wanted to upgrade their bulk singles display and their other merchandising areas. And we were able to help them. and execute on a cleaner look. Tables are also a staple in any event space, and we expect nothing less than high quality for WPN Premium stores. This is a store that I worked with, Darkside Games, and they got a retail improvement grant, and it helped them upgrade their tables in addition to updating the rest of their play setting. I think that the store logo, the colored, the painted wall, it all really makes this location pop. And by the way, this is also the location where we shot the Modern Horizons 2 video. So one of these tables is where Dak and Blackblade sat. Branding and signage are also both critical components for a professional presentation. And we were able to help Brooks Games and More find ways to implement signage throughout the store that was true to their brand. Here are a couple more examples. I was particularly impressed with the dice on the stairwell. It's a memorable centerpiece, and that will stick with customers long after they leave the store. If I'm, I see a lot of stores myself, but if you said, hey, what's the store with the dice on the stairwell? I know immediately, that's Rook's.
Okay, so we're going to get into just a couple of extra examples before we wrap.
Yep. Want me to show you the first example?
Yeah, go for it.
Yep. This
I've got it on my slide here too.
Perfect. This is the one that Harper was mentioning earlier, just having a really good store branded, colorful, memorable code of conduct. Wizards Tower did a great job here. I really like it.
Yeah, they installed this on the windows as you enter their building. So these are really nice and big as you come into the store. They had recently changed their color scheme to be this really vibrant green and white. And I don't have any other photos of their store here to share today, but yeah, their new space is certainly really impressive. And in no small part, thanks to some of the considerations they had given to their branding.
Yeah, I mean, specifically what I like about this, just from a design standpoint, is it's using their imagery, it's using their logo, it's using their font. Each of the rules are sort of broken down by the color. And you sort of have the big thing, and you don't have to read everything, like, hey, I can see that, be safe, be fair, be neat. I don't have to necessarily read everything, but it's that hierarchy of information that really helps me digest it. And, just coming into the store for the first time, being confronted with this, it's like, hey, I feel a little bit more reassured. And, I know that they put a lot of time and effort into their mission statement here.
Yeah, one other thing I want to say on this is it is a requirement for premium stores that you have a code of conduct visible at least from roughly where you enter the business, so that any customers that come into the store can see it. And you should also have it visible from the play space. So you need the code of conduct. You also need an event calendar, and you also need a sales policy. I talked about this a little bit previously, but these are some of the best opportunities to highlight your branding with things like your color and your logos and your fonts. It's just the place where you connect directly with your customer as the business that you are. And so going above and beyond any sort of, like we had sent out posters in the past to stores, like Wizards of the Coast had sent codes of conduct to businesses a few years back. But creating something that is just you and it's unique to you is that's the way to go. I tell people all the time.
Yeah, Harper, you actually mentioned this earlier, where it's like, we want your brand to be more important than our brand.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
So this is another example of just like a really amazing play space. Another place that I would, love to spend, countless hours in. It's, we talk a lot about the third place theory. First place being your work or your school, first place being your home, second place being your work or school, and third place where you go to socialize, where you hang out. And really, Magnolia Game does a great job with this. And they took their space, and they could have gone a lot of different ways with it, but they really did lean into this sort of more rustic feel with the fairy lights, the brick wall. They sort of really thought about, like, okay, what are the tones that we want to go for? Like the wood tones, it matches their beams. And then they have, again, it's another thing in their store that is just very memorable and photogenic. Like one of the things is, we see a lot of people, taking pictures of their food, taking pictures of hey, I went on a vacation. Let's show pictures of, I went to Amsterdam and I took a picture next to this big thing that says Amsterdam. If I take a picture next to this, people know where I'm coming from. And that's kind of advertisement in and of itself.
Next. This store is also really impressive as far as just the general aesthetic and layout. Like they converted Bearded Dragon is in New Jersey, I want to say, and they're in a converted old building, and you can kind of see a lot of the various elements are pretty special and unique to this space. But they were able to fit like a premium style store into the shell of an old building. And it just kind of goes to show like the creative steps that can be taken to make a premium store out of almost anything.
Exactly, yeah. And this is Millennium Games. Like, we've given you a lot of examples of these over-the-top stores. Wizard's Chest is, if you're coming from it as here's the location that I have now, I don't want to necessarily move into like a warehouse with exposed brick. I don't necessarily want to, find a place and turn it into a castle. You can still have a very clean presentation for, other retail spaces. And, one of the things that I really like about this store is that, the tables are high quality, the chairs are high quality, it's bright, it's lit, and the decoration, it's purposeful, but it's not over the top. One of the things that we talk about a lot with stores when they're going for premium is, we might have sent out marketing materials from years gone by, and one of the things is, does that work as marketing material still? Probably not. No one's probably going to be buying packs of Lorwyn because there's a Lorwyn poster on your wall. And to be quite honest, it actually might cause extra confusion. Someone comes in, they hear a lot about like, okay, here's the newest set, Midnight Hunt. I'm very excited about it. And if they are greeted by that same sort of imagery in your store, it's great. Hey, point A, point B, I know what to buy. But if they're then presented with a lot more options, like, oh, there are some Kaladesh Thopters, that seems kind of cool. And there's this cool poster of, Odyssey block. That is a couple more, choices that they have to make. And now there's some analysis paralysis. What is right for me? And they might not make a purchase on the day of. And does it work as is that part of your aesthetic? Probably not. That patchwork doesn't quite work the same way. And also as a marketing material, it sort of fails. So keeping things up to date, keeping things clean, crisp, keeping that message straightforward, that is going to be something that any store can do.
Great. Now we've got a couple of questions here. So let's move to wrap up.
Yeah. Now, the last thing I just wanted to let people know is we're still that resource for you. Go to our website. There's going to be a lot of articles, and anything that you have beyond this, we're always able to talk with you about.
And in closing, WPN Premium represents an opportunity for stores to bring out their best for the betterment of their communities. And every store has something to offer, and we're excited to work with you to bring your vision to life. You can reach out to your retail development specialist simply by applying at askwpn.wizards.com, and that applies for both premium and for grants. So thank you for listening. We'll now go into questions.
That was great. Thank you so much. I would be remiss if I didn't shout out Jerry and his team at Sightlines. We worked extensively with Sightlines for Magic Fest and for GPs. And I will say the Jerry Bear is a true artist. Like, he's got great vision, and his team, they're amazing. So I cannot say enough good things about our collaborations and working relationship with Sightlines and Jerry Rubin. I love him. Obviously I call him the Jerry Bear. So he's a friend, and he's a great resource. But more than anything, he is such an artist. He has such a vision for things. So he can do great things, and he always does want to do great, beautiful visual things. The other thing I want to note as a retailer, as a previous retailer, now we've been moving out of that space, is I love the idea, and Alexander, I think it was you who mentioned this, or maybe it was Harper, but it was like all the market research that goes into this. Why wouldn't you take advantage of this? There's so much effort and so much reach and clear resources going into market research, not to build a better Magic store. Because if you were watching this presentation, as I was, how many times did you see pictures of board games? How many times did you see pictures of other games that these resources were going into, cleaning up the signage, making a clean store? And I think that's really powerful, right? Because sometimes you get into a mindset where, okay, well, they're coming in and they want a WPN Premium. It's just Magic. It wasn't. This presentation had so many beautiful images and so much beautiful stuff with other games. So this is really about, I think, Wizards making a clear investment into your store, into your brand. And that was just something that really resonated with me watching this. So thank you. I am going to use my host's prerogative and ask my own question here. Because from the beginning, how many people at Wizards have designed cards? Well, it seems like an interesting. It's like, hi, I'm Marcus Stanley. Here are the 3 cards I designed. Okay, let's talk about retail stores. I was like, what? You guys are designing cards too?
It's hard not to like get really excited about like the small handful of cards that we've designed over the years. But we do get opportunities to submit for hole filling. When a design skeleton is kind of like shy on a couple of cards, or like something doesn't quite work, that team will send an email out and say, hey, any ideas, just so we can juggle some thoughts around and see if we can find something better. And that's how you get some of the individual contributor designs into a set.
Y'all are handling it way better than I would. If I had, it'd be like on my lapel. I'd have like a shirt made with just a card on it. I've been playing Magic basically my whole life, and what a thrill to be able to say, hey, I designed this card, or I was able to work on this card. So that is crazy. And
usually the greatest thing about it is like being able to design your own commander deck around a legend that you've made.
Unbelievable. So that just gives me my surprise.
Both Alexander and I have done.
Well, obviously, why wouldn't you? It's so crazy. So okay, that was my host prerogative. It's the first thing y'all said, and I was like, what? They designed cards or even R&D. So one of the questions that I think is probably a lot more germane to our audience is, where can I find information about applying for that retail improvement grant? And if I heard correctly, it's not just if you want to do WPN Premium, right? You can apply no matter what. So where do I go for that?
Yeah, you can go to askwpn.wizards.com. We've also published occasionally some articles on the WPN website on like how to apply and whatnot. In general, the best way to apply, though, is to have something of a plan already. If you need help developing a plan, then applying for premium actually accomplishes that. You talk to us, we can give you a bit of a sense of what our thoughts and feelings are on what you might need to get to premium. And so if you're like, I don't know what I need if I'm interested in the grant, well, come to us and we'll give you some ideas. Once you have an idea, the best way to present it to us is through something like a business plan. We have a couple of forms on our website that you can fill out. But for the most part, it's knowing what you want, knowing where you're going to get it, how much it's going to cost, so that we can bounce that off of you and then see what we can come up with to offer, to see if your store is eligible for a grant, and if we can get that for you.
So I think you kind of already answered this, but I think it bears asking anyway. Does the retail development team provide support when designing or redesigning a store? Is that, or do I come and here's my idea? It sounds like there's some feedback maybe.
There's it's pretty open-ended. Like the number of us have different skills, like on the team that we'll rely on. Some of us have worked like more heavily in comics focused stores. Mm-hmm. Some of us have backgrounds in marketing and branding. That's me specifically. I do a lot of the marketing advice for our team. And so like if there's something that I don't know really how to, or if I don't feel like I have the adequate tools to do it, then I would often go to somebody on my team that I know would have that experience, and then we'd come up with something and bring it back. to the store asking. But yeah, we have some capacity to help with store design, or at least giving feedback to help direct some of the efforts that the store is making.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to sort of like expound on that a little bit, we're never going to be telling you you should buy this. This is the color palette that you should use.
Yeah.
But some conversations that I might have with a retailer would be like, okay, what are your store colors? How are you using them? I might suggest, having a splash of color on a wall, because, if all your walls are white, that's not very visually appealing. Or I might talk about like, hey, it might behoove you to, have some of this information on your window, like your store hours. But we're never, we just don't say you should buy this product, you should put it here, here's your plan. We're not trying to do franchises. We want you to have your store, but we want to ask good questions.
Harper, I believe you mentioned you have a territory. It sounded like it was Canada, the Guam. So one of the questions that popped up was, are you assigned a dedicated specialist when you join Premium that you can consistently refer to? Because it kind of sounded that okay. So is that how that works?
Yep. Yeah. So for example, like I work with the team at like face-to-face games, 401 games, Sentry Box out in Alberta. Like I'm the person that they reach out to when they have questions about Premium, about their benefits, about like any additional projects they might be working on. They all reach out to me for that, and I'm familiar with their region. I'm familiar with all the different stores in that region. I build connections with each and every one of them.
Yeah. And really, it's just like we have the intimate knowledge about your store, so we're able to best position you for like, if this were just going to anyone, the advice would be very generic. But because we sort of have this history with you, because we built this relationship with you, we're able to give something a little bit more specific, a little bit more tailored to you. And then, of course, like, because we have this relationship with you, we know, oh, this would be a great opportunity for this store. Let's send a team down for an advertisement.
We spent a lot, obviously the main focus here is WPN Premium, but one of the questions that put it up is, how do I sign up for the WPN? Is that also at askwpn.wizards.com?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's just going to be your biggest resource, right? Any questions about the WPN or any of this, just head there.
Yeah, you could just go there. You could also, if you're curious about any general like resource information, you could just go to wpn.wizards.com. Ask WPN is the place where you apply for things, but the website is wpn.wizards.com.
Okay, so we are up against it time wise. Is there anything that y'all wanted to close with before we jumped out of here?
Yeah, the thing I want to say is whether or not you're interested in Premium. One of the questions in the chat that caught my eye was like, how is this affecting like the industry? I think that there's something to learn for just about everybody. Like there are ways that we can all enhance our individual businesses. There are very simple things that everybody can do to elevate the industry as a whole, and that's at the core of that's how I like to operate. When I'm speaking with stores, like what are the small things that we can start with first? How can we make your business better without focusing on, big splashy investments or what have you? Like what's the ground level that we can raise? I think there's something to learn for everybody, and regardless of the size of your store, small stores, large stores. I mean, we shared only examples here from North America, really, but there are solutions in just about every region around the globe. And we have teams like Alexander and mine around the globe working with stores all over the place. And it's great. It's just so nice being able to work with businesses and see their communities grow and help them feel more connected with their business.
Yeah. Yeah, really, it's a rising tide lifting all ships, and whether if you're here just to say, hey, I want to improve my business, maybe I don't want to do everything that might be needed for Premium. We're still here to help you.
And sorry for not being able to answer. I see that there was a couple questions floating around, but at the end of the day, contact us. We'll get you settled.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do think one of the key takeaways I had to kind of part and parcel with what you were saying there, Harper, is these stores are gorgeous, but they're all unique. It's not cookie cutter. It's not the same thing over and over. And one of the things I think is really important is you get a feel for the store, right? It really, you saw these different stores, and whether it was the Bearded Dragon seemed like a little bit smaller, but they were making the most out of their space. It's amazing, Wizard's Chest, all these turrets and couches and stuff, but you got a real sense for what the community inside that store is. And so it really felt like, know what that is, know what that branding is. I know you mentioned this, Harper, and know the branding, know the feel, know your customers, know the community that you're trying to build, and then come to this amazing team with all these different expertise and the ability to help you and level you up. But it really felt unique, like leveling you up, not leveling up just a random game store, but really drawing that feel out. I appreciate that, because that's something that is every time. I think all of us on right here right now have walked into so many game stores, and there's always a feel and there's a community in that store. And that's what's important is listening to that community and growing it together with that community versus saying, here's what I want, here's what we're going to do, here's what's going to look like. And I think that from what I've seen, and obviously I've talked to Justin and different people on the team, that is such a priority. And I think it's really, really important. No one's trying to take over your store. Everyone's trying to come in and help you grow that store in the exact way you want to grow it. So I think that's the key thing I've experienced, working with the team. So I just want to make sure everybody, I want to get that out because I think it's one of the key selling points engaging with the WPN. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much, Harper, Alexander. It's a Saturday, and y'all took time out of your schedule to join us on a Saturday. So you're free to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. But thank you for taking this time and joining us and talking to the retailers here and really educating all of us on how we can start that WPN journey and get to WPN Premium.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. For everybody else, we will be back with Bob McIntosh from 3DC. He's got a marketing presentation. So we'll be right back here in just about 5 minutes with Bob McIntosh from 3DC.